No, I'm not gonna do an intro on this one, man. No, it's just brief. YouTube, Facebook affiliated streets, TikTok, Instagram. What's going on out there in the land, y'all? Been a while. Um, I just want to come on because I earlier attempted a live feed on my Facebook page, and I just wanted to give a little shout out, man, to the homie Tracy T. Rest in peace, man, and give y'all a little information, man. You know, Tracy T shot at me before, man, before he got on the set, you know. And I just want to tell y'all a little bit about that, man, and kind of some of my observations about not just Tracy T, but homies like Tracy T. Because if you know Tracy T, he's a certain type of homeboy. He ain't just, ride or die and all that. He's a certain special type of homeboy, man, that you have to think about how he was handled. How did we handle Tracy T, right? As a camaraderie, a brotherhood, a homeboy ship, right? Did we handle Tracy T properly? In my case, emphatically no. Emphatically no. But let me start where the starting happens, man. I believe it was 82, but it was either 81 or 82. I want to say 82. Early 82. On Cadillac, so you go down corner and you make the right on Cadillac, on that white building on the corner, Lil Keith and them stay right there. So we was outside blowing. And we had been there, man, for probably about 30 minutes. I know that was my ritual, like kick it with Lil Keith for a little bit. So I may have had my car parked in the alley. Or I might have walked down there and walk back or something, right? But either way, we was out there hanging out, setting up the next day play and blowing, right? Little dude walked by, man. I think he had on a khaki suit. That's what caught my attention. And it was nighttime. And I'm like, he kind of walking kind of fast, like past us. I'm like, hey. And I stopped him like, where you from, homie? Because he looked like he was affiliated. And he said, I don't bang. But the way he said, I don't bang, he spoke the language. He'd been around some of this, right? And I didn't press him about it, but Lil Keith did. Lil Keith pressed him about it, man. And I'm like, what you tripping off of, man? You know what I mean? You high. You know what I mean? And he was like, nah, what did he say? And he's like, what you say? And he was like, he said it again. I said, I don't bang. And Lil Keith swung on him, right? And I guess he felt like we was going to jump him or something. But we wasn't planning on jumping him, man. It was just Lil Keith high and tripping. So he took off running, man. And I'm watching the dude run. Lil Keith chased him a little bit and maybe the halt and then let go of it. Came back. He kept running, though, up Cadillac. Went past Sherborne, ran past. I'm watching him run. Ran past Bedford, but when he got to like Bedford, I stopped watching. Right? I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, man. What you do all that shit for? You know, we bullshitting and joking and whatnot, right? So we hung out probably for about another, I'm gonna say 15 minutes because Lil Keith's brother, rest in peace, Q Ball, Quincy came outside after the incident. He must have heard something or something. And he came out, I think, down the steps. And Lil Keith was telling him what had happened. And he kind of like described the little dude. And Quincy was like, I hope it wasn't that little nigga that just moved on Shenandoah, man. He moved over here out of the 30s. He on bang, but we trying to get him on LBG. Like, they was trying to make him a little boy gangster. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. But I'm not taking it serious. Like, it wasn't a big deal to me, right? Man, listen, Q-Ball went on about his business. Rest in peace, man. Q-Ball, Quincy. May Allah be pleased with that brother too, man. But Quincy went on about his business, man, and we kicked it for about 5 more minutes, man. The next, when I wasn't leaving yet. I was a little bit from leaving, man, and I started hearing shots, like gunshots coming from up towards Bedford. And I'm looking, it's this little dude, man, and he's popping at us. He's shooting at me and Lil Keith, and I'm like, man, that's that little nigga shooting at us, right? So we duck around. We went around the bush and went around on the Corning side and ran up Corning a little bit and cut back through the alley and came back down the other way. So he would have thought we had left. That's what we did. But I wasn't heated. And the heat that Lil Keith had, his mom's and then was up in the house, he wouldn't have been able to get to it like easily. So we kind of stood back in the alley for about a couple of minutes and then looked around like he had us like a little, not spooked, but like a little shook, like he busted, right? Man, we looked around that corner, little Tracy T was gone, man. Guess he went on about his business, man. You know what I mean? So fast forward, right? When I formally meet Tracy T, I don't know that this is the little dude who shot at us, because I was trying to find out who it was that had shot at us. I wanted a little more information about that. Like, don't, and we in PBG, don't shoot at me, right? That's a problem. So I'm looking for the little dude technically, right? But I never got enough information on him, right? Fast forward, I go to Eastlake. I'm in Eastlake, and I had it to where in Eastlake I could go up to R&R and check on homies, right? See if the homies was in there. Like, I would go up to R&R maybe every other day. We would rotate, right? Different homies would go up there to check R&R, right? Me, Knockout, who else, man? Had that juice. Woody didn't do it that much. It was another homie that used to go up there on the G side. Can't think of who that was, man. But we would go up to R&R, right, with the little thing on, and check on homies, right? So one day I was up in R&R, and one of the homies that was in R&R told me, man, hey, Fat Rat, you got a little homie in here. I'm like, oh, really? Who? And he pointed out it was Tracy T, and he was like sitting there, kind of like, I don't know what this kind of, like melancholy, man, like, I don't know, man. So I walked over to him and I sat down next to him. I'm like, what's up, homie? And he was like, what's up, cuz? And I was like, you know who I am? He was like, nah. I'm like, I'm Big Fat Rat, Playboy Gangsta Crib. He was like, oh, what's up, big homie? I'm Tracy T, cuz. And whoop, whoop, whoop. And he started telling me a little story. He just really opened up to me like almost like really like too soon. He opened up to me, right? And I caught something in his voice and his demeanor. I was like, man, it's almost like the homie burnt out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you know how homies be, like when they be on the water a lot? That's what Tracy T reminded me of. And he was young. Like, if I was 16, he was 14. He was a little younger than me, right? I'm like, the homie burnt out a little bit. I'm like, you all right, homie? He like, yeah, cuz I'm good, you know? So he ended up, he told me what he was in there for. And I believe it was related to some gang activity in 82. Y'all know his history better than me. So you probably know more about what his history was in 82. But he was definitely on the set in 82 and banging and had his tattoos and was representing, right? But known for being burnt out. That's what the little homie was known for, not little homie. The homie was known for being burnt out, right? And turned up at the same time. That's what he was known for, man. So he ended up over there in Eastlake on K&L with Dirty Herm from Lantana, right? And them. And Lil Timmy Tucker in them from A-Track Gangsta. So I went over there to chop it up with him. And I told Herm, like, that's my little homie, man. Like, you know, look out for him. Not little homie in the context of being a little homie, but smaller homie, right? I don't know if I did the little homie thing back then. I might have been into that a little bit back then and might have referred to him as little homie back then. But I had, in other words, I got his back, right? And I went over there and let them know, you know. But he ended up getting into it with somebody real bad, man, in East Lake from Schoolyard. Somebody from Schoolyard he took off on somebody from Schoolyard to the point where he ended up going to XY. He went to the box for 7 days for that. I don't remember the details of that, man. I was never really close to Tracy T, man. Never close to him. Just his homeboy, man, from a distance. And I never let anything happen to him on my watch, right? Never had nothing happen with him. Never seen him on no missions or none of that kind of stuff, man, because I looked at him a certain way, man. I was like, man, the homie need like a special type of care, right? To bring him all the way full circle into what this thing really is. Because to me, he was gone a little bit, but he was turned up in the meantime, right? But shout out to Tracy T, man. May Allah be pleased with that brother, man, and bless him for all of the good that he did, man, and console his family. I don't know if he had any children. One of the things that I wanted to mention was that there's this tendency that we have to abuse talent. Like the homie was talented when it came to getting down and pushing the game, right? He was talented in that way. But he needed special care and concern to get himself some stability, right? That he could find a way to live a life, man, right? That, I believe, is something that was an opportunity that most of us missed with him, man. I don't know. I've seen a few people say they had stayed in contact with him. I don't know what that contact amounted to. Some support is better than none, man. So shout to those who were there and able to lend Tracy T some support, man. I never seen a hat go around for him. I don't remember that. I remember, you know, we would send hats around for certain homies, man, but I don't recall a hat going around for Tracy T. And if it did and I missed it, my bad. That wasn't intentional. Like I said, I just wasn't totally tuned into the homie. But love to him, man, because I know to the bitter end, he gave it all for Playboy Gangsta Crip, man. That's what his life became. All about being a Playboy gangster, man. He really committed to that like that. And that was admirable in the early stages of being a gang enforcer. That was admirable. Like, you admired homies who was pushing that way, right? We needed that at that time when we were, you know, kind of in a formative stage. We were growing and becoming a bigger part and, you know, entity within the Crip Car, man. So his contribution was a part of that, and it was significant in that. And I want to acknowledge him for that soldier part. But I do want to acknowledge that I failed in my personal duty and responsibility to help set him on a track or a course, right, for some level of stability that he could carve out a life for himself in the latter years, like now. You know what I mean? But like I said, man, learn from those mistakes that we make, man. If we make a mistake, correct it and learn from it and go forward with a better idea. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Knowing that we made a mistake, we missed that one, right? But you don't have to miss another one, man. It's another homie in the set that's going through some similar challenges as what Tracy T went through, and we're not positioning in ourselves to assist him in the way that he needs our assistance, right? What's the good in being a homie if you can't be there in that capacity when you got it together mentally, right? If you got it together mentally, then you should demonstrate togetherness mentally. You should demonstrate balance, right? And discuss imbalance with homies who you see struggling in that way. Develop a negative into a positive picture, man. Lauryn Hill, man. Develop a negative. Remember them old Polaroids? And remember we would take the pictures and we had negatives, the whole roll of negatives, and we sent them in to be processed to become positive pictures. Develop a negative into a positive picture, y'all. That should be our objective and our goal in this point, in this season of our lives. Though we are the Playboy gangsters, right? Though we be the Playboy gangsters, the originals, the pushers, the ones who made it all happen, we in the latter years now, right? The twilight, right? We can do better, and we can set better examples and kind of inspire others to get on a sound course, a balanced course with the remainder of their lives, and try to do something of good so that we can balance our scales, man. Like that being said, I don't have much more to offer in terms of that, man. I'm studying this security brief on how Trump sent these goons into Venezuela, the Delta Force, and the methods and strategies that they employed to go kidnap that dude, a standing president from another country, man. That's somewhere else doing something else, man. Next level. Anyway, with that being said, man, y'all continue to have a blessed one. It's your homeboy Fat Rat Evolve.